Justin Fields, of course, great pick for the Chicago Bears. Super excited when he came into the league. And you saw him in week 1. You know, he broke down the analysis and just a few key points. He had the big-time throws into the tight windows. And he was fearless already, and you see him experimenting some in that aspect. But that's what he's going to do when he's got kind of out there, you know, having to carry a team that might not do a whole lot this year. And then you look at the fact that he can make any throw from any position, great pocket presence, and his eyes really complemented his footwork in week 1. You take a look at week 2, still saw a lot of the great things, you know, pocket presence, still able to move outside of the pocket. And you even heard one of the commenters say, oh, kind of Mahomes-esque. And he does kind of get that vibe going about him when he's trying to extend these plays or put it into tight windows. Now, he's not going to perform on a consistent basis, of course, like a Patrick Mahomes, but you got to give the rookie his credit, you know. And when I saw him over and over attacking more and more in this game, the stock's got to rise for me. I see a stock up, and some people were really down on Justin Fields after this game. They're looking at the score, they're looking at Trubisky, and they're looking at some of the completion percentage, passer rating. But overall, when you see the increase in difficulty on the defensive side of the ball and where the game was, I got to say the kid did fairly well. But let's look at some more points here. I mean, the big time throw to Jesse James, just right off the flick of the wrist. It was super effortless, and we know that Justin Fields is that type of quarterback. So just to see him attacking with the legs more, staying well in the pocket, and just increasing, you know, that presence with the arm, he's going to, you know, race hell with Chicago and in the AFC North for years to come, or excuse me, the NFC North for years to come. So I got to say, definitely a stock increase on Justin Fields.
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of difficult just because the man didn't go in until the third quarter. They were down 34-6 when he got in the game. Like, why are you so sold on Andy Dalton? Like, you're just going to let your team get murdered.
Yeah.
And then put Justin Fields in there. They all had their tail, like their ears were tucked back. They were ready.
Right.
It was a nasty game. And then they had him going for it on fourth down. They pretty much put Justin out there in desperation mode as if they were actually trying to see if he could bring him back. I mean, it was a desperation type situation that they put him in.
Right.
He did well for the circumstances. He wasn't playing with the starters. He wasn't playing against starters either.
Right.
But they haven't given him a shot. I mean, they have already ruled Andy Dalton the week 1 starter, which is still beyond me.
Horrible.
I don't understand what's going on out there in Chicago. Like, what are you watching?
Right.
Like, this dude is so much better than Andy Dalton. It doesn't make sense for him to never. He still hasn't taken reps with the first team in preseason.
That's horrible.
I don't know what they're doing in practice, but it's like, bro, what are you watching?
Right.
Like, the plays break down. He takes off and runs. You can see he's got crazy speed, and his acceleration is what's really impressive.
Exactly.
I mean, there's a lot of guys who run 4.4s, but they don't run a 4.4 without a runway. As soon as he sees somebody, he takes off. And it's not like, you can see he's not even struggling. It's a very smooth stride. He gets out. He runs out of bounds. He slides. He is very cognizant. Granted, he did get hit. That one hit that he took in the beginning of the fourth quarter, I thought he died. His helmet popped off. He was laid out on his stomach, on his face with no helmet. It was like, oh, my God. Like,
yeah.
I thought they were going to take him out. Like, but you can't just keep getting this dude hit like that. But he came right back in him. He stayed poised. He did.
Yeah.
He played well for what he was dealt.
Right. And he hung in the pocket afterwards. Like after that hit, he had, I think, 1 or 2 throws to where he specifically saw the blitz in his face, and he delivered the football because he knew, like, hey, blindside hit, but if you bring me the same blitz and I see you, because Fields is that intelligent, he picks it up and showed us that he can adjust to that. So I got to agree with you there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what he does. But just like when I told you guys about the fantasy don't drafts, the ignorance that's going on in Chicago, how long are they going to keep this man on the bench?
Mm-hmm.
I just don't understand what's happening right now in Chicago. If I was a Bears fan, I'd be highly alarmed.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.